Morning, beautiful people. It's thundering outside, nice and cozy for Halloween. When you watch this, it won't be Halloween anymore. And we have Courtney Dillon at CourtneyDillon.com in the description box, and on the screen it shall be. We also have my lovely son on the other side, Erik. Hi, sweetie. I love y'all both.
Hi, Mom. He's ready to talk today. He's like kind of official. He
Ooh.
even has on a tie. Does he
Ooh.
ever wear a tie? He never
Oh,
wore a tie for me
he
before.
loved dressing up in suits. He called them Papa
Yeah, he
suits.
looks very handsome, I have to say.
When he was little, Papa suits.
Yeah.
Oh, so cute. All right, we're going to talk
Oh,
about,
I get it. Workplace tie.
oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
We're
I
gonna
was
talk
like,
about
okay,
workplace
duh,
culture.
sorry. Yeah, there you go.
It totally makes sense. Will the future workplace, this is all from one person. Erik, will the
Interesting. Okay.
future workplace culture have more of a female dominated energy or a male dominated energy, or will it be more balanced?
He says both, so balanced, more
Okay,
balanced.
good. We'll
What
keep
he's
it short.
showing me is like I want to just say this overall and then we'll answer all the questions. What he's showing me is um the move away, and we're talking like this is going to be okay, he's saying gradual over a period of time. So we're not going to see it all at once. We're not going to all of a sudden wake up tomorrow and then everything's changed.
Yeah.
But it feels like gradually, and he's showing me 2040, so he's kind of going up until
Okay.
that time period, that we will have balanced. It's much more like um, community-based decision making, and masculine and feminine balance.
Oh,
So because
nice.
that's what we're coming into balance as a collective as
So
well.
more of a cooperative, like we're moving into unity consciousness instead of
He said, "Don't get me
there.
wrong, there will still be bosses,
Oh, yeah, of
people
course.
who are bosses, but it we are going back to our roots." He's showing me a roots of a tree. We are going to be um, much more community centered,
Okay.
and businesses, specifically businesses and workplaces, will be centered around the community. So
Okay.
that's one kind of like piece of the puzzle.
That's
The
nice.
other piece he's showing me is this move since COVID into people working more from home, that sort of thing
Right.
will continue. Actually, we're not going back to everybody being in offices all the
Yeah.
time, even though like some companies are saying we're going back in that direction. We're actually, it's not going to happen
I mean,
because
probably
people
some will.
have
Some are demanding it. Companies.
some, but it won't stick. He's showing me because
Okay.
people have gotten used to and like the flexibility of home.
Yeah. Cool.
They like not having to pay for
And there's
gas.
Zoom, everything can be done online, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, there will be more of that.
All right. What will happen to the workplace culture when all the baby boomers retire? I'm never going to retire. And how will this generational shift affect corporate dynamics? Hmm. Got one smart cookie.
Again, this is gradual.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, at least I think your internet is being wobbly.
Mm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. Just keep talking.
Oh, it's not working.
Just keep talking.
Okay. Okay, I'll keep talking. Okay, so no problem. What he's showing me is it's gradual. As baby boomers retire, there's going to be more flexibility because people in younger generations believe that that's part of the deal, that they have workplace flexibility, that they will be able to, go to a doctor's appointment in the middle of the day or work from home or pick up their kids from school. This
Yeah.
is going to be part of the expectation at work. And we're seeing like pockets of it, I guess, and places in the country that are now kind of operating in this way, but it's going to be like more of the norm, he's saying, and will be across the board. And the culture of people just driving to work, working all day, that kind of thing, will be a thing of the past.
Yeah, I bet. Now, guys, I'm having trouble with my internet. It's an AT&T thing. So yesterday, Zoom crashed and it went back up all by itself and kept recording. So If I'm unstable, you just keep talking because you're
Okay,
fine.
that's fine.
Right?
Okay.
How will the concept of work-life balance evolve in the future? Will there be a significant shift in how companies support this balance? Did we already
Yeah,
do that?
this is the main thing he's been talking about,
Yeah.
prior to this call, is that there will be much more balance. Family, our children, family is important to most people right now, but
Right.
we don't have, for a lot of people right now, they don't have the ability to have that much work-life balance, or they have the expectation that they work all the time.
And
As
childcare.
our,
Odd.
at childcare's, I don't know, honestly ridiculous until my daughter got into kindergarten. Don't even want to start on that, but the balance, as these systems change, well, as he wants me to correct the word, as these systems collapse
Okay.
over the next 2 years, we're going to be rebuilding from the ground up, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be that fun, and it in some ways will be, he's using the word painful, but there's great opportunity when we have as people, take power back into our hands and have the opportunity to build businesses that are community based, build new systems, build new ways of working, and work becomes much more balanced over a period of time. The 8-hour or 9-hour workday is going to be a thing of the past. You might go work, do your work for 5 hours, and then you go home. It's not going to be the same way of
But what
working.
about productivity? Will it still be maybe even better productivity because people are
better productivity because people have balance in their life, and they're able to take time off and focus on things that are important to them. And we have lost the culture of balance, he's saying. We have lost the ability we feel like we've lost all our power in working.
Yeah.
And we're going to be able to take some of that back.
Okay. So I think we've already done this. Will remote work become a standard practice for those jobs that are capable of it? How will organizations adapt to the challenges of managing remote teams? Well, because somebody could just not even work, but that'll show in their productivity.
Yeah, we're not going backwards to these offices and structure and office culture. It's just not happening.
Ooh, short commercial real estate.
Yeah, exactly. And we will have people, and we're seeing this already. I mean, you're in a different city right now, and we're talking, right?
Yeah.
He's making that point. And so we will have work people will be all over the country, and they're working on the same project in the same team. And that's just going to be much more normal. Your job will not be dictated so much by location, unless, of course, you work at like a community-based organization, and in which case there's going to be kind of two tracks, I guess you could say, of work.
All right. What kind of values will be emphasized in future workplaces? Will empathy and emotional intelligence become more important than technical skills, or as important?
He wants to say that technical skills will still be necessary and super important. Not everything is going away. Yeah. We will have certain types of technology that require technical skills and expertise. That said, we're moving into, it's much more, he uses the word egalitarian, place of balance. Opinions are shared freely. We're going to be seeing this reflected in both our workplace culture and our government as government shifts and changes.
Oh my God, the government is so divisive now. I saw Trump in a garbage truck. That was hilarious. Oh my God.
So this is all going to be changing. And the corporation is the idea of the corporation as all powerful and controlling everything, and controlling the food systems, and controlling the water, and controlling the land,
and the government.
And the government, and all of that is going away.
Okay.
This is the last gasp, he calls it.
How will technology like artificial intelligence influence the types of jobs available and the work environment? Will it create more creative opportunities or reduce the need for human workers?
Both.
Okay.
Both. And he's just going to give the straight answer. It's not always the answer we want to hear. There is an opportunity, and there are some good things about AI. There is also a dark side to it, which
Yeah.
we are beginning to see and observe in the collective, of the ways it can take over human interaction and the necessity for human labor, actually.
Yeah.
But what he says to me is that it's not going anywhere. We will begin to use and utilize it, but ultimately the human spirit will not allow the power of the human spirit, which the controllers, let's call them, do not recognize as powerful as we are. The power of the human spirit will ultimately choose community, to going back to a simpler way of life.
Good.
To it's that feeling where children are going to be raised more, again, like by a community, but you have more like support from your neighbors in a way that we don't.
Generational support.
Exactly.
Like grandparents get more involved in childcare and stuff, maybe. Instead of taking
We're
grandma
going that
and putting her
direction.
on an iceberg and bye, like they do in Eskimo. Well, I don't know if they really do that. I saw a movie once. Okay, yeah, that whole thing the other day where this beautiful boy started having this computer relationship with a bot, complete artificial intelligence, and that artificial intelligence convinced him to kill himself and meet her or him on the other side, and he did.
God.
So that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Will there be a shift in how organizations define productivity? Like, how will the idea of output change over time?
Absolutely. Yes, he says, because productivity will not be linked, and this is hard to believe for a lot of people right now. Productivity will not be linked to the amount of hours you clock in. It's not like you're, punching the clock. He shows me that old, have you ever had a job where you had to actually punch in? I certainly have.
Yeah.
But we won't have our output or our projects related to the amount of time we work. Now, there will be an expectation, like you're not going to be able to work 1 hour. I mean, it won't be absurd, but it's less about the amount of hours worked
more about results.
And more about results. Like, what are you producing? Yeah, exactly.
And probably, money for the corporation. I mean, if you work 3 hours and you make the company $10,000 that day, then or you work 10 hours and you make for the company $5,000.
Well, this is to do with everything, because our perceptions of how much money we need to make actually change over time.
Good.
Because taxes are going to be more reasonable. We're not going to have to pay for things like water. I know that sounds crazy because we think the water bill, right? Or all of that, but we won't in the future of the United States, at least, we won't have as many of those basic needs, survival things. And so we will have, frankly, to work less.
Okay. Will mental health and well-being play a more prominent role in the workplace culture? How will organizations help their employees achieve greater mental and emotional wellness? I mean, this person has some great questions. Love it. Be quiet.
Really good. Yeah. Really good questions. He's saying that we are going into a period of time where we recognize the whole person. So he said the human spirit, the whole person. And the soul of a person will not be separate from what they do for a living. So absolutely, because this is an opportunity. Not everybody's going in this direction. Some people are not going to choose to awaken at this time.
Yeah.
And that's their choice. But we have the opportunity to, he says, wake up and deal with our shit now so we can head in this direction where life becomes easier.
Oh, That's wonderful. And, I think that if the company helps with the emotional and mental well-being, then the company as a whole will do better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Things like physical activity will be promoted, and eating, fruits and vegetables, and being with your family, being outside, this type of thing that just creates you have a better outlook if you go outside every day. I mean, or
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
And
kind of simple.
meditation practices.
Exactly.
Sure, yeah. How will leadership evolve in the future? Will we see more leaders who are nurturing and emotionally supportive, or will traditional hierarchies remain?
No, traditional hierarchies are going away.
Good.
It may take some time. We're just on the cusp right now, this coming year, which it'll be interesting. Well, if we do that energy forecast with the mediums, but we're on the cusp of this. Next year is all about change.
Yeah.
It's all about accelerated, rapid change. We're going to see a lot begin to break down. We're already seeing it, but it's going to be more accelerated. Okay. And so as those systems collapse, we will rebuild new systems based on higher, more spiritual principles. So it's going to take some time. We are like planting the seeds for future generations. But remember, those seeds are important to plant.
Of course.
So,
okay. Will there be an increase in collective and collaborative decision making, or will the workplaces continue to be driven by top-down authority? It's great.
There will still be people in leadership positions. There will still be leaders. There will still be bosses. People need generally a leader. However, that said, it will be much more cooperative. There will be the ability to express your opinion and have it be heard. So,
my internet got unstable. Will corporate social responsibility and ethical practices become a deciding factor for employees choosing employers in the future?
Yes, there will be much more. The idea of the corporation as all-encompassing is going away. There will be much more it will be much more regulated. There will be much more accountability, sustainable environmental practices, he's saying. And then also, as they choose employees, they're going to be choosing employees based on higher level principles.
Oh.
And this is a new way of life. This is a higher order.
So what about the woke agenda, DEI? Like you have to have X many Asians and X many blacks and X many LGBT.
It will be what about that? That will be exposed for what it is in the coming years.
Okay.
It feels he's taking me to 2042, for example.
Okay.
It won't be, it's hard to believe, but it won't be there will be some regulations still to include different types of people and make it sort of more fair, but it won't be as it won't be like it is now. Exactly.
Okay, good. There has to be some sort of meritocratic component.
It will be.
Instead of having well, I don't want to offend anybody, but let's say an Asian who has lesser skills. If two races have the exact same qualifications, then to make it diverse, choose the non-Caucasian one, perhaps.
It doesn't feel like as much of that, but there still is some, he calls it checks and balances in place. And those checks and balances are important and necessary, but there will be also equally checks and balances in companies.
Okay.
Like right now, there's no checks and balance system. They can do whatever they want, essentially. And they will, and it's like this idea, sorry, I dropped my pen. This idea that they're above the law.
Yeah.
They pay for the law. They're above the law. That is all going away.
Okay. One more question and we'll take on part 2. Before we ask this question, before I ask it, I want y'all to hit the thumbs up button, please, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss part 2. All right. Last question for part 1. Will workers in the future have more freedom in choosing how, when, and where they work? And how will the organization adapt to those shifts?
You have to remember that as people are waking up, they are going to be pursuing their individual, what he calls soul calling.
Yeah.
So a lot more people on the planet, like I, for example, and I think you're doing this too. I know right now that I'm doing what I came here to do on the planet. Now, it's not that it's going to evolve over time. It's going to shift. It's maybe going to reach more people, blah, blah, blah. I don't know exactly yet. Like I'm given pieces as I go along, but I know that. And it took me a long time to get there. He wants me to say this. And it wasn't overnight. And it was uncomfortable sometimes, to actually go and do the thing that I came here to do. But what he's telling me is as people wake up, they're going to have this drive to really do what they came to do, like their original divine blueprint.
Sole purpose.
Exactly. And so as a result, since people are going to be more in tune with themselves, work changes because we're not as, work doesn't become this miserable thing. We enjoy our work, I mean, it still might be like you're tired one day and, you'd rather like watch Netflix or something, but he's laughing at that, but we'll enjoy our work generally.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone. Stay tuned for part 2. Thank you. And don't forget, Courtney Dillon should be on the screen and in the description box. She is wonderful, as you can see. All right. Bye-bye.